So, just to give the general statement, today we'll be having a general discussion about the state of the game, some compositions, tips and advice for the newer players or even established ones, the state of the community, and anything revolving around that, and the longevity of the game. So, to start off, let's just discuss how the game is in its current state. As we know, the game has been released for 3 months, and it's been a lot longer in the Kakao one. I think 6 or 7 months now. The 1 year is coming up soon. That's all I know, and a lot of different changes have occurred. Some for the good and some for the bad. So I want to start talking about the SR characters since they're basically the big part of this game. So with the release of Lime and Jin coming out in like a few days, who do you guys believe are the best SR characters in the C server? So.
Last.
I'm kidding.
Say your
Definitely laugh.
Arme.
Lay and to the
So
let's talk one at a time, I guess.
do you want to go down the list?
Based on my experience, definitely last. It helps you with adventure and everything. There's basically no reason to get less from any SR select that you're getting from the game. If I had a second pick, I would pick either Lei, Ryan, or Ronan. Depends on where you're focusing on. But definitely Les is the best pick that you could get right now from the C server.
All right. Any opinions on that?
So yeah, regarding that, because the team comps right now is all focused on physical attack, since Jin isn't still out and Ronan only gives about 20% debuff. If Jin and Lime comes out, the thing is, Lei would be top tier. She's top tier right now. She deals more damage than Last, and she's more versatile. And regarding that, Last would be more or less on the tier of Elysis on regards to buffing. He would be relegated to a buffer in that sense.
Do you?
Yeah,
consider
I mean
that
that
to
was good before Lay was released.
Go on.
But now that Lay is out damaging everyone, Throne is not nearly enough as he was before when the server got released. Especially since we got Amy first. So last was, much more higher tier than before because of Amy, because of the skill cooldown reduction. But now, since last cannot compete with Blaze damage and most likely Jin's damage, perhaps, then we have issues for last being OP tier anymore.
Well, can I talk?
Go.
Hello?
Sure, go ahead.
I beg to disagree with regards to last being. I'm not being a fan anyway. I'm just saying that last as an SR unit or as a SR unit is kind of broken right now. Even in KR, I mean, look at him. He can do both buffing. He can do both damage and whatsoever. I mean, Lei as a magical unit or as a magic unit, SR, I guess, yeah, versatile, but last is still broken.
No, last is not broken.
Uh-oh.
What do you
He's
think?
basically Elysis with damage without the C.
Okay.
Pardon?
So let me ask with this. He basically said that he's basically Elysis with the debuff. You said.
No, basically Elysis is a buff. Basically Elysis is CC buff, while last is mostly damage and buff.
Okay. So let me ask. Compared to Elysis or Last, who's the better? Who helps the party better?
Definitely last.
Yeah, definitely last.
though.
Definitely last, but if you're dealing with some mobs, you can use that.
So, do you recommend that a player aims for Last first, or let's even
Yes.
say awaken him first?
Yes.
before any
Yes.
other SR?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Most likely yes, because it's going to
Yes.
be your go-to early game SR unit. For late game, that's kind of
Diverse when it comes to
goes
late.
down the tire. So, but for early game, last is king.
Yeah, with our current content, I think last was best.
Yeah, either you go last or with your 5-9 select.
All right. So you
In that
guys even
sense,
say this compared to someone at Lei, who's considered one of the strongest dimensional boss characters. Honestly.
yeah. In regards to Lei, the thing is with her, you need the right comp to make her work. Since without Lass, her damage outputs goes down, and if you're just getting analysis in regards to that, a 1.3 increase percent since max stacks LSS gives about 30% attack damage, while Lass
Yeah,
gives
yeah.
about 20% crit all around. And since Lass crits every hit, most of the time, you have an uptime. You have an only uptime of 20% crit. That would deal 200% damage. So in that sense, you really need to get the right comp for Lei. But Lass is all around the solo tier hero.
In regards with Lei as a Divas unit, can I share my lineup for it? I mean,
Go for it.
my lineup at the moment is like Olivia, Last, Lei, and Amy. I remove Alice's in my current lineup because my Alice's has no awaken, and the extra damage from that awaken unit is really big. Like right now, my Alice's can only do like 500k damage in dimensional bosses. So when I moved Alice's as a buffer, she deals more than like 2 million damage as an Alice's buffer in my same lineup. So I guess with regards to Lei as a Divas unit, Lei with like Olivia, Alice's, or Last deals tons of damage in D-Boss.
Is that a pun?
Kinda.
Tons of damage. All right. So let's move away a bit from the assault units, since I think we can all agree that Lass is considered the best assault unit. Maybe that can change with future releases, but I think as it stands right now, he is the best.
Nah.
Let's talk about something like defense units, where we have the good old Jin, Ryan, and Ronan released.
So first of all,
So let me put the question this way. Because Jin is coming out, a lot of players are recommending Jin. And everyone's kind of forgetting Ryan and Ronan, who, if you want to argue, are still considered very strong units. Is
Yeah.
Jin
What are
the
those?
overall last of the defense units?
yes,
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, basically he's the DPS.
But
yeah,
Ryan's and Ronan show
compared to the other two units.
yes, of course. Oh yeah. Regarding that, there's different kinds of niches to that. Since if you want more damage and just shorter runs and shorter PvP times, you may as well go Jin since more damage is faster runs. And with regards to Ronan, he has his niche because of his invulnerability, which negates, which isn't cannot be stripped with Cleo's staff. He can be good for dive comps. And by Ryan, basically you can pair him up with Lass or Rufus to completely use his niche. That's it.
Okay.
The problem with Jin defense is that most great attack comps is composed of either Cleo or Arnoldo. So Jin's skills, which is the second one, I don't think the first one deals that much damage, will easily be debuffed, and so yeah, he is kind of useless in that for me.
Any opinions on that? Anyone else?
Huh?
I haven't really used Jin, so I can't comment on that one.
I haven't used
Actually-
Jin yet, so
yeah,
I
I
cannot
don't think
that one
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, Jin
Yeah,
is
Only
still
1%
fairly new, but there is a lot of information regarding
Yeah.
him. But again, he's still not here as of the time of this, so he's still fairly new. I'll avoid talking more about these two new characters, if anything. So, what do you guys think about the rates?
I believe.
Franchise.
You know what?
The
About
current
the-
rates for getting SR units.
Oh my god,
It's absolute garbage.
It's way too.
Right. If you're going to gamble or gacha, good luck with your salt. But essentially, what you're aiming is basically your guild points SR and your login SR if you want to make sure. So basically, you can take a gamble that 1%. If you can get ahead of the pack, that's why we have gems and things like that. So that's why people use pranas most of the time to buy tickets instead of buying evos. With the promotion system up, you can actually compete more with S characters, even A characters if you're mean enough. But yeah, but that's not the point. But SR units are basically there to what they call this one. They're basically the end game or the end content. But it does not necessarily mean you should go for an SR, especially in the early game, since they take so much resources. There's not much enough things that you can do early game. Yes, it does give you an advantage early on. It's a faster investment early on, but yeah, that investment would go stale for a while until you get more dupes of said items, considering the fact that S units are easier to awaken.
I actually have like two different contradicting opinions regarding the current rate of the game because of how the game basically works. Like, most gacha games aren't this generous in terms of giving us ways on how to acquire the SRs. Normally, we would end up having to wait like months or so of daily premium currencies that the devs give us. But in this game, all you gotta do is like farm A rank, sell them for pranas, get tickets. That's why I can't really say that the rates are bad as 1% with no pay rate because it's farmable. I'm not complaining. Like even if I'm like salty for getting lay after 180 summons, I'm not really salty about it because I can do it again, and I'm not limited to waiting dailies, waiting for daily events. I just have to farm, be patient, and eventually I'll get there. Compared to most gacha games I play, which have quite a lot of pressure. It doesn't really force you to be a whale. You could actually go head to head against whale if you just farm enough. So those are basically my thoughts about it.
But let me ask, with this being 1% and you having all these different resources to get them, is COG justified with setting it at 1% for, in this aspect, cash players specifically? Because sure, as you mentioned, this puts you at an even ground for normal players, but from a perspective of how can we make money from the game, is this actually bad for COG if the rates are this low?
No.
No.
I don't think so because even then, even if there's this 1% chance, there's this guarantee of getting an SR like 200 summons, which is pretty much okay or enough for me, in my
Nah.
opinion, at least.
There's already a lot of people that haven't gotten a single SR in 200 summons.
Yeah, that's the thing. And there's like some people who got like 4 SR in a single full. It pisses me
Yeah.
off. Okay.
Yes, it's just to feed Nyx's saltiness.
So Zach,
Alright, I think that's pretty reasonable. So, moving on. What SR characters do you guys consider to be the least useful from all the different contents that we have in the game, who do you guys consider to be horrible useless?
God damn, please don't say Arme.
Adventure wise,
Army.
Adventure?
adventure wise is Ronan first, I think.
No, Army is worse than Ronan. Ronan is
I don't think Arme is an SR.
Shit.
God
God.
damn, when will the army end?
Army.
Even got
Yeah,
demoted. She even got demoted. See?
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Army isn't even in the picture.
It's
right
PvE, right? Adventure.
I'm talking about
Right?
all the game modes.
No.
Right.
Okay, so
Army. Okay.
So basically, it's Army.
there's
Arme
basically-
has a use in PvP death. If you fought against a 100 prestige fully woke Arme, she's very annoying because she's very durable and she can delay the SP gain because of slower attack speed and movement speed.
Army set OP.
So yeah, Arme is rather annoying. Death.
Who the hell
Army is
is
supposed to be a DPS character, but he's regulated as a support character in PvP. That's how worse. That's the worst state of Army is.
I mean, there's the thing with Army. The only place where you can use her to her fullest potential is World Boss Phase 3. That's it.
DPS.
Yeah, basically that's it.
So let me ask, why do you guys consider Army to be so useless?
He doesn't have the damage.
Just give context to this, by the way. She recently
Yeah.
did get buffs, or nerfs if you wanna look at
Nah,
it.
it was buffs.
But it was mostly
well-
buffs. Like she got her ultimate reduced, and I
60 to
believe, right, which
60 to
was at the
40.
time, if I remember correctly, when I used to play Cacao. This used to be one of the highest ults in the game. It might have been the
Yeah,
highest in
It's
general.
highest.
It was.
No, I think it's big. I think it's Vegas now.
60?
Well, back then when the game released, do you guys think
Yeah, back
that the Sissy at SP was one of the major reasons as to why she was considered so weak back then? And
No.
It's her skill set itself. Her
Yeah.
passive is like non-existent. You don't even feel her passive. While her meteor is basically so damn long cooldowns, even though it's much faster now. But it's still even though it's much faster now, it doesn't deal enough damage to justify using her against other people.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
a
it was
mechanic.
ESP before.
And if you compare Arme with other burst type characters, I don't think she can. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's very comparable.
The reason why Army is much more shittier than now is because Blast exists. If Blast doesn't exist, at least Army might have a niche. But since Blast exists, I don't think Army would have its niche, especially now that Vegas is released in KR. Army is completely useless.
So the
this
thing
kind
is-
of, go on.
The thing is with Army, even then before the pre-balances, Army had a hidden mechanic which was passive of Cindy, where
Yeah, Cindy's passive. Arcane. Wait, I'm gonna look it up.
so there was the thing here. So you cast a number of skills and you get SP. Now they removed it, but before she had that, but she still wasn't used. So that speaks for itself.
So, do you guys think that COG? Well, I think we can all agree at this point that COG fucked up with the buff. They didn't buff her in the right places, or they hit her in in places that she shouldn't have been. So, if you were to try and bring Army back into relevancy, how would you go and tackle her kit?
I mean,
Probably Slavish first.
An actual
Wow.
passive.
yeah,
Speaking,
it's passive.
okay.
Go you
An
If I
actual
could
passive and give
change Army's skill set,
low
I
or at least,
definitely bring back the GC PC version. Skill 1 would be Stone Curse, like some utility stun,
No,
etc.
it actually gives Stone Curse as a passive.
Huh.
Yeah, it's an active skill 1.
Yeah,
And then
give it as
lightning
a
bolt
arm
skill 2.
passive. Stone Curse should be at least her passive. That should at least make her somewhat usable. have something that can, actually hold instead of, slowing them 90% of the time. Give her slow ability, more DPS damage, and change her passive to Stone Curse, which basically stops someone from moving at least 1 to 3 seconds. That should make her usable.
Yeah.
All right.
That should work.
So,
I think the way to fix Arme is make her a CC, make her the cast on SR with a casting time since we don't have SRs with casting time. But
No, adding casting time to Army.
That would fuck her up.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like have her AOE stun or something.
From an A-tier champion into a C-tier champion.
all right. So let's move on from this. This is kind of not a fair question since this is still Sia, but for the ones that do keep up with Kakao news, do you guys believe that with the new characters that have been released in Kakao, which I believe the latest one was
Zero.
Yeah, 0. Do you guys believe that they're going to have a drastic impact with the current meta and the way that certain characters are viewed?
Yes.
Mhm.
Every new character introduced, the meta changes.
Do you-
Like
Yeah, Zero doesn't give much,
They're doing shit.
what was that?
but he does, however, you now have an S-tier board or an SR board, but he's not really board in a sense.
All right. So, do you think this is good for the game? The fact that we have such different metas every time a new character changes. Is this healthy, or is this something that might even lead to the downfall of the game?
It might.
The-
Check League of Legends if it's healthy or not. It might be too salty for people who mains characters who cannot adapt to meta changes, but it keeps the game interesting for most people.
The problem with the introduction of Zero is that he only counters Lei in PvP depth, since you can only use hero versus hero on PvP, but Lei will still shine in general PvE. So the meta won't change really.
I mean, the changes.
So I mean, the PvP
affects
meta changes because Zero exists.
All right. So, I think this is, a pretty decent conversation with SR. So, I want to go a bit back into characters that are not really SR, but they're S. What do you guys consider the state of these S characters? How are they compared to your SR units or even the A units? Are they in a
Like-
Olivia is definitely much more better than Army.
Well, actually, it really depends on what content are you gonna use them.
Yeah.
Like Boar. Boar is only for PvP defense. Bergamot can be used in Phase 2 World Boss.
I fucking hate
Brielle, another character or S unit that can be used in Phase 2 World Boss as well, and even in PvP defense, or even in attack mode, or even Cleo. So basically, all these S units are just really dependent on what content are you gonna use it.
Yep.
So, do you think that S characters are basically niche, and that SR are the core gameplay of the game?
Yes.
Most
Yeah.
likely, SR are like the core gameplay of the game.
Yeah, the SR should be the core gameplay of the game, but S can provide you unique strategies. You can even SR them at this point just for PvP reasons, but yeah, they won't really affect the PvE meta because technically SR has better skill sets besides Army.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was like expecting that if you upgrade or evolve an S unit to SR, they will get like an ultimate before. So I was kind of disappointed, but I still play and use these S units anyway.
Do you mean A? Since S already
Yeah,
had.
to be
Oh yeah,
fair,
or rather A
you
units.
didn't
Sorry,
have the
sorry.
promotion system
Those
before.
S A units, because I really wanna upgrade Lydia at first, though. I mean,
I mean,
To be fair, Korea didn't have promotion system. We got it first.
The problem with the S units we have is that most SRs have an S counterpart like Ryan for Boar, Ronan for Pos,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Olivia for Elysis.
That's
So,
true, but some S
the-
offer something unique. Like
there are some.
Boar Silence. I can't find that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Zero and KR has silence and summon kill, so there's that.
And so far, only S units have disables. No, I don't think there's an SR with a disable.
Disable.
Like they silence you. You can't use skills, or you can't move at all. Like hand out, root. You can't move at all. Brielle is an annoying piece. He's annoying to deal with.
He's an annoying piece of shit.
All right.
It's very annoying to deal with.
I kind of, since I should have asked this before, but with the way that the SR units are being released, at some point we're going to have a ton of SR units, which are still capped at 1%. Do you think this is something that COG should change in the future, or this is fine? Especially knowing that a lot of the ways to get SR units tend to be pretty random.
Yeah, especially that we only get the banner one at a time, and I think they should recycle banners if they've released a lot of SRs.
Rather, they should.
they will though. Don't worry about it. They
They
will.
will. A current event in Kickout is
Yeah.
actually doing this.
I remember Kakao releasing almost every single one of them at a time.
Now,
There was a Sig.
they released
Actually, right now they're like
Yeah.
all of the SR banners are up right now in
Yeah.
Cal.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Alright, so let's move away from the units now. I want to talk more about the core of the gameplay. So, what is your guys' opinion on the current state of dailies? So, this would be when the user logs in, the things that they have to do to basically be in a position where they could play more, but it won't really matter for their day-to-day stuff.
Repetitive and compulsory.
Right. So,
Yeah, it
what's the
just
opinion-
becomes a
so
checklist.
with this, I mostly refer to contents like PvP, Trial Tower, Dimensional Boss, things like this.
It's more than enough for me, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
it's more than 50 those daily mission thingy things.
It's nice, I guess.
Do you think there's room for
But
improvement?
it,
I mean, if they could,
Better matchmaking that I would appreciate. I don't want to get matched with fucking Whale Guild every time. GP
True.
server, come on.
I think that's a joke.
I mean, I think
JP has a fuck ton of whales. Yeah.
That is true.
uh,
So, I think that was kind of straightforward. Let me go back to this. Do you
I
guys
guess
think
what
that?
I'd- Oh,
aside
sorry.
from that- oh, you want to continue?
Oh, I just wanted to add you know how when we had that Ronan event like the other week,
yeah, that one.
it actually had the same daily quests that we had, and that I kind of appreciated that we actually didn't have to go
Yeah.
out of our way to actually do them because we already do them
Yeah.
daily. However,
Although
what I really did like about Ronan was that we only had to do one adventure for one day. We didn't have to do 5. Like, sometimes you just forget, and then we don't really want to have to do keep on doing adventure all the time for at least five times, and then you just forget about doing those 5. Sometimes I just want to do like 3 or 4, especially when I'm having like a really really busy day, and you're gonna have those times, and then sometimes I forget to bank on those 5 adventures. So I would really appreciate it if if they just went they just dialed it back down to one, just like how it was in the Ronin event. I mean, if we really wanted to do more adventure, we're gonna do definitely more than five if we want to finish those requests on the board, right? But then I don't want us being forced to do five, and at least we just do one if we're really busy.
Mhm.
Yes, but dailies will force you to do 5 adventures anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I mean they don't really have to specify it to be five. Like for example, with Wizard's Labyrinth, we're only asked to do one. But I mean we have two chances to go in, and then normally we
Yeah, true
always use
enough.
those two chances, right? So I mean they could always just dial it back down to one, and then if we actually do need to go be to adventure mode more than once, we're definitely gonna do it.
I also wish they would count the raid attempts in the adventure quest. Yeah, I think that would make me happy.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
One thing regarding events is that sometimes remember those quests he was talking about where you get special items for the event by doing quests. Sometimes there are people do them at like 12 midnight, but the event gets released at 9 a.m. Then you miss out on those
Oh yeah,
bonuses
it
that are given
happens.
out that day.
It's really annoying.
It
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah,
sucks.
that happens. That happens.
Of course.
Well, in my case, though, these dailies are like not that much of a hassle, but since I'm working, I can say that I can still do those dailies easily without getting much hassle. Like doing the dungeons 5 times. You can always do auto anyway. And it will really benefit you from finishing your request board easily with those five. I mean, you can do it at the same time. So for me, it's not that much of a hassle, and these dailies are easily just like any other mobile games anyway.
True, true.
All right.
Right, but then I'm just gonna add to that. You see how we have 48 available requests. That means we're
Hmm.
actually allowed 48 hours of not doing these requests. So I don't see
Actually,
why we have to do five adventures when we can actually only just do one a day. You're
yeah,
right. It's not gonna be hassle for you, but for some people it's gonna be a hassle. Because some people want to hit a lot of requests in just one adventure run.
yeah,
Sometimes you hit four or five,
Hmm.
right?
yeah,
So sometimes,
especially
yeah, yeah,
especially
you just wanna lower your request count down just enough so that okay, I don't have to do it for the rest of the day. I
Yep.
can take my time, and then but then when you do that, you've probably only done like three adventure runs. So then again, you're gonna be forced to run two more times, and then in those two times, you're gonna think, okay, which mission should I take to cover a lot of requests at the same time? And so, a lot of people don't have that luxury of time because they're already devoting their time to this game with other dailies. So I don't see why we're gonna be forced to play five adventure runs. Like there was one time I actually forgot to do adventure runs, and it was maybe 5 minutes before the reset. I went with the very very first mission just to rush through it. And
yeah,
yeah, I didn't really enjoy doing that.
yeah. It also
Well,
kind of
yeah,
sucks to
I
have.
just
But you could
told
have
you guys
gotten
earlier
the
my case.
character,
Uh,
the
Yeah.
champion.
Well, they
And
give
I know you're.
off 10 gems like that, right? So,
Oh.
how about instead 3 instead of 1? Because it is still somehow, I can say that, worth it because it's 10 gems, right? So, what about 3 instead of 1 or 5, like in the middle?
Well, I'm just gonna say though, if they were able to do it for Ronan's event, why not just for normal dailies when they copied everything else from the daily anyways?
No, the reason why it's actually 5 adventures is so people would actually be reminded to use up their mission points.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. All right. I think that's a good convo on that. Let's move on since there's still a
All
lot to
right.
go with. So,
Yeah.
do you guys think the game leans more towards the casual side or the hardcore side, or is there like a
Casual.
ground?
Middle ground.
Semi-hardcore at least to
Yeah,
hardcore.
semi-hardcore.
Middle somehow.
Middle
Yeah,
Yes.
middle. Unless you want
I
to
want
stay
to
shallow.
add something to this. One sec. Let's remember that I'm not just talking about the aspect of gameplay, but the community aspect as well. So we're talking about guilds and
Mhm.
PvP and world bosses.
Mhm.
Keep this in mind.
It's
Yeah, look at
actually
us.
nice.
Look at us. We're a meme guild. Look at
New players can actually enjoy it. However, it's almost impossible for them to catch up because of the inflation in PvP points. Like,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah.
Mm.
Like,
PvP's
how
gonna
high-
kill them.
how high is the highest now? 13k, I think, and
Or
you have to start
14.6.
14.6.
Yeah,
And then
14.6.
You have to
That's
start all the way
why-
from zero.
Yeah, that's why it's pre-season, so everything will be reset again.
Oh, okay.
It's
Forgot
free
about that part.
I like that idea of
First season
freezing.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, also the guild tournament.
Yeah, the guild tournament needs some work. They need to expand it to at least more.
It's like, it gives the stronger players makes the stronger players even stronger while
Oh yeah.
Not
Get
necessarily.
so much.
It's basically minimal reports like a week. So basically,
To add on to this guild tournament thing, do you believe that they're taking a step in the right direction with it, or the entire concept just doesn't work?
the concept would work
Well,
if they
it will-
can actually include all of the guilds for the guild tournament. They can have different brackets for it. After people won, they can move on to a next special bracket. They can move on to a new bracket of 32, and so on and so forth. But for now, it doesn't really work. I think they're just testing the waters at a time, but I don't think they have the technology yet to have 32 guilds competing with all of the guilds.
Like, I think what they should have done with the guild tournament is that they add a tier system depending on like how strong a guild is, and like
Yeah,
matching
it
based
should
on
have a
PvP.
tier
Yeah.
I've made a
It
GP
shouldn't
server.
be like top 32.
It's horrible
Yeah,
in there.
the tournament.
I think they
feels
should
so
do
rushed.
seasons.
Yeah, that one too. Seasons, because
Seasons.
again, the gap between players and the
Yeah,
40 guilds, and it's just so hard to, even if you're in like in the top 40 to top 50, it's like very hard to still go into top 32. So why not just do seasons? We're in long term, like, oh, you say something now. I can't think of anything.
All right.
Um,
Let me
the
put some,
Okay.
I guess, thoughts into you guys with this guild tournament stuff, and then we'll move on. So,
Sure.
if you guys have heard what League of Legends is doing, which I think is somewhat similar to what's going on here. So,
Yes,
League of Legends
Clash.
is trying to release something called Clash, if I'm correct. Where the concept is that players can sign up to a tournament with players that they know, or I believe you could even set it up to have random.
Random.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're able to participate in this mini tournament. And the mini tournament is basically every Saturday from what has currently gone on, every weekend.
Oh.
You're
Yeah.
able to join like
It's
a
like-
mini tournament that has 4 to 6 teams. And you guys basically compete against each other. And the winner would get like a special package from this.
It's like
So-
what StarCraft has.
Should this be something that Granches should do? Instead of it being specific to the top 40 or top 100, should it just be specific to people near a bracket?
Yeah, it should be specific to their bracket, because not necessarily the number one guild will be against other guilds who can
Top 17,
get
like the
adapt their level. Especially
it's pretty much
since
a monopoly at this point.
we're currently don't have enough members, or rather enough players to compete with the number one guild.
Yeah,
Actually,
because
I
if you
oh,
look at the
okay, sorry,
current
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, yeah, with the current scheme, I actually heard that that around the top 32 guilds, even within those top 32, like say for example, someone from the top 10 guild is moving to the top one, top one guild. So it's like the power is going to pool in one very small corner, which will result into a an almost immovable monopoly. It kind of discourages some of the players, I guess, to
Yeah, I
some
mean,
degree.
regarding that on the guild tourney, uh, the top one is fighting always with the top 32. So chances are from top 1 till top 10. The thing is, the only fair match, I guess, is between top 16 and top 17. The others are far match in BP.
All right.
Mm.
So let's move on.
Oh, actually, oh, I wanted to. Sorry, I just wanted to double check if that's actually true. If
Yes.
the first one will fight the 32nd one.
Yep.
The
It's
32
odd and
actually
even. Odd and
fights the number one.
Yeah.
It happens.
When we were registered, we were top 1 and we were fighting Union at top 32. So there's that at round 1.
Oh, okay, that's
Oh.
kind of screwed up, actually. I mean,
That's
who would,
sad.
who would make that kind of tournament? But I actually just
Reverse
wanted
power
to,
matching.
yeah, I wanted to point out that your suggestions earlier regarding having a tier system between guilds, isn't that actually what Guild Wars is currently doing with based on our hidden MMR, based
I
on
mean,
wins
that's
and losses? But
Guild Wars.
the only difference is that in tournament it's more public, like everyone can see your matches.
Yeah.
Now, don't you think that our Guild Wars should be something like that instead, wherein there's always this set time or set date, like every Saturday or every MWF, that we would have a battle instead of just waiting for matchmaking all the time, and guild can just sign up for Guild Wars anytime.
See,
Shouldn't that
that
be the
thing
format instead?
screws up with the casuals, we say. The ones that find Guild Wars on their free time.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, that screws up everything with that. So since they can't plan anything,
All right. So let's move on.
All right, let's
Now I
move
kind of want to talk about
Okay.
compositions. In the current game, we currently have, if I can recall correctly from the top of my head, we have assaults, we have rangers, we have mages, and we have tanks and healers. So we have quite a variety
Yeah.
with different, SRs and S characters. Without naming any specific names, can you guys think of I guess ultimate comp based on defenses, healers, that can fit in every single aspect of the game, especially for newer players
Right
who are starting out.
We're starting out. I do
Are we
recommend
talking about format teams here?
So this is kind of
I can
structured, one at a time, and we can start off from there.
Okay.
I can think
Mm.
of a PvP offense.
Go by
off
the
the
order,
top of
Zach.
my head.
Yeah, we can
Zach,
start-
go by
Seren,
order.
if you wanna be the first one to give it.
Oh, okay.
Mm, I
So
think
with
what I have
regards
right.
with. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll go after you.
So as I can see, since I'm fighting all these challengers in PvP with their PvP attack and PvP defense to start off, and their PvP attack, I always see these four main units: Last, Ronan, Amy, and Lei. I mean, Sky uses it, Silver uses it. Who else? Hematra uses it as well, and most of these guys use it in top 10. Since every people in top 10 mostly use Lei and Last, I guess this composition, or maybe one of the most OP compositions right now in the game in terms of PvP attack. Regarding PvP defense, there's no absolute defense, I guess. You can easily crack any defense, but it really depends on your BP status right now, since
Yes, that's do matter.
there are whales and there are like F2P casuals anyway. but there is no absolute defense in this game. For me, in my own opinion. Anyway,
Not yet.
So this
For
was composed of Lei. You said Lei
last
last.
Amy and Ronan.
So this would be your defense, healer, well not defense, your tank, your healer, your mage, and what was the other one?
Assault.
Assault.
Soul.
Do you think this, set of comps works for
Mhm.
content?
Well, my current comp right now, or that comp I told you, is only for PvP attack, but Amy, Lass, and Lei is for overall content. Ronan is only for PvP attack and PvP defense. You can always change Ronan to like LSS, Olivia, Ryan for adventure content.
yeah, true.
So do you guys agree with this? So just to remind, this will be healer, assault, mage, and tank.
It's
Yeah,
either a mage
unless
or a
you're
ranger.
used. But yeah, it's hard to find a good mage besides Razor. So I do recommend using Bergamot instead, especially if you're free to play.
Yeah,
Right
Bergamot is
now-
actually a good pick, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
but-
like budget Rufus.
Actually,
yeah.
he's better than Rufus in adventure content, in my own opinion.
Well,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
talk about characters.
I never use.
Okay.
So comp, Zach. In regards to comps, the one that Seren said was a tank, an assault, a mage, and a healer. Basically, that comp is good overall in
Yeah.
PV and PvP.
All you need is some sustain, a wall, and any kind of damage dealer. That's all.
Yeah,
you need.
so basically, a balanced team is good.
For me, well, my comp right now is I'm bringing 2 assaults, a healer, and a tank. So right now my PvP offense is Class, LSS, Cleo, and Ronan. So basically, I'm pretty much ready for some comps out there that have a lot of buffs. I don't know. For PvP offense, I don't really see very lot of Amy because her skills take a long time to cool down, and she only heals for so much.
Ooh,
Next.
Then
I beg to disagree on that point. I mean, Amy's kind of useful right now in this current meta. If have you fought Sky? I mean,
no, I mean I'm a platinum 1, but I haven't reached challenger tier.
yeah,
But-
but you can fight Challenger in Platinum 1 though. I mean,
Really?
I mean,
Yeah.
I did beat Nox before, and I did beat Pablo Esque before, so I
Huh.
think can
Pablo S cast the hidden siege and Cleo. He's like a baby Sky.
Baby Sky.
yeah, somewhat he is a baby Sky.
What the hell?
But
Anyway,
For-
with regards
for-
with Amy as a PvP defense
I'm
support,
recalling this one time. This one time when only 3 heroes stalled my entire attack. It was a Boar, an Amy, and a Cleo.
Oh my god.
I just can't kill it. Like, oh my god, I can't. Like
Sounds
Boar's
cancer.
Boar's passive, Amy AOE damage reduction, 45% off the bat.
And don't forget the PvP buff of 20%.
Like, if you can't reduce the heal, or if you can't somehow out damage it, you're not gonna get past 1 star.
well, it really depends. I mean, in my own case, I have a 6-star lay, but I'm still having a hard time killing an Amy, because Amy's like a little bitch.
Wow.
You're not wrong.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I can feel the hate.
Let's actually talk about specifics here.
Okay.
I know we kind of talked about SR characters, but I want to talk about them in a more specific manner on a comp. So we kind of just talked about Seren's comp here with Amy, Lastly, and Ronan. Do you guys think that this is the current state with champions or characters where you don't have characters that are good in a general gameplay, but they're good in very specific areas of the game? And do you think that's
Well-
how the game is gonna end up going with SRs?
Charon, liar. Liar, Charon.
Hey, let me say
I
something.
always
I
mute
probably
that
shouldn't,
shit.
but I will. Liar's useless.
Oh my god.
Rufus
What?
is
Fair
an
enough.
archer,
Yeah.
you acknowledge.
Excuse me.
What?
We didn't even talk about this.
I mean,
It's useful in the box. That's it.
Hey,
PvP wise,
back in the question section, where we basically discussed how Rufus and Liar compare, and I think it was you, Shiro, who mentioned that
Oh,
Rufus outdamages her in any point of the game, because even if she specializes in single target, Rufus just outright outdamages her.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Is this
I haven't-
generally speaking? I think this is a big fuck up from Cog. Liar should not be this useless.
Can I say something about this?
Go.
Hello.
There's
Regarding
only.
with... Oh, okay. Who's that?
Oh, sorry about
Can
that.
I talk now?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
what the? Wait. Okay. So, Liar in general and Rufus in general, I mean, they have differences and different content. I mean, Rufus is better in PvP, I guess. And Liar in general is like a god in adventure content, dimensional bosses, world bosses.
Trials.
Even Rufus cannot outdamage Liar in that case. But Lay is the best one.
For everything.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Play it's almost everyone.
that's right there.
Okay.
Is this okay now?
That's better.
Yeah, yeah.
Is a demon lord in
better.
this channel? And
Okay.
That voice.
I believe Lars only is just only uses for like dimensional boss or anything with really high health, because since all the resources to make like a character is focused on her passive, Rufus just out damages her, and we know when it comes to anything else actually.
Hmm.
So, currently in the state of the game, Rufus outdamages Liar by a fuck ton, and only later, in the later stages of the game, would Liar shine. Making
I can
it
only imagine
world,
one play. Go ahead, go ahead.
world.
Only against really high health targets.
Yeah, I mean that really high health targets is them bosses of World 3 or 4. That's
Yeah.
where Liar shines. But currently, right now, Rufus still out of this Liar
Yeah.
all throughout.
The only
Any
time I can imagine Liar being more useful than Rufus is when you really need to burst your targets done really fast. Like during boss stages in adventure.
Yeah, because
Great.
Liar has high multipliers on her skills.
Like when you need to go from you need to burst them down from 20% to 0 fast. Like
I mean, Lars burst is better than Arme in some cases.
Army again.
Army. Who's that? Who's that even?
like Arme, she's not okay, I guess, but it's kind of hard to
RB
fit her into
useless.
comps.
Alright, let's move on.
Terrible.
Go on.
Not
On
exactly.
to the next.
I should highlight that for this video. Put
Alright,
Arme with the vanishing picture.
So this is a topic that I've seen a lot in
Yeah.
various discords and in the subreddit as well. What should players be doing with their currency? So by this I mean gems, pranas, guild coins, things like this.
Yeah.
What should players
Can I
be
go
doing?
first?
So should be the main focus on each of these specific currencies?
Can I go first?
Go for it.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So on gems,
I'll go last.
on gems, basically the first thing the new players need to do is open your slots, please. everything from skill
Yeah.
research
Yeah.
and
True, true.
expert phase.
That
After that-
sounded dirty.
It sounded desperate.
Okay, so
Open
from
everything.
gems after so after that, after the gems, next is pranas. Pranas should only be used for tickets. Unless you are making shinies, you don't buy evos.
You need
Ever.
episodes. You need them.
If
Yeah.
you wail,
I
if you're wailing,
You're lucky.
go ahead and buy.
Buy. I mean, that thing is for pranas. There, if you're making shinies, you can go ahead and buy Evostones. But mainly, pranas are meant to be used for tickets. Never ever buy a fucking A select ticket or an S select ticket. They cost too much and they are inefficient.
Yes,
And
that's so
gold.
true.
So
Yeah, when
gold,
you can-
basically,
Yeah.
gold is
Ayun na lang talaga.
fucking used everywhere.
Use gold
Tell
everywhere.
me about your gold struggles.
Oh my god. Where do I start?
Gold
Where do I
struggle?
start?
I'm not even
Wait,
struggling
wait.
with.
You
Henry isn't
eventually
even here, man. We can't talk about
There's actually to segue a bit into the gold. There's a bit of uses for gold, ranging from
yeah.
Yeah.
what's the name of this?
Upgrades.
Your
Up-
upgrades,
everything
hero
upgrades.
training, skill research,
Everything.
upgrading your units,
Everything.
everything.
Yeah,
What should be the main
everything.
three focus at least? Let's go with that. The main three.
So
This-
gears, of course,
It
gears
depends
and
on
your
what part of the
gears,
game you're
hero
in.
training,
And
gears, hero
awakening
training,
maybe.
and awakening,
Cost
if you
a
can.
bit.
Yeah.
Awakening is gonna rip
So
your
true.
wallet apart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the least of your concern is enchants. Please spare your gold.
Only do
about
that if you already have your main team assembled. Like, that's the last thing you're gonna do.
Can I share something about doing the bosses with regards to gold capping?
Go for it.
If some of you doesn't still know how to overcap, here's a tip. Try to calculate your last damage. I mean, your gold. If you have like 1425 million gold, try to hit it until 1424, and then try another D boss, which is
Max
at full
out your-
HP.
Oh, you can overcap.
Then you will get
Yeah.
like more gold
Oh.
than the usual limit.
Yeah, you will overcap.
That's why overcapping at this game is really for gold usage.
Sarah, what's your tutorial, man? How don't
Efficiency 101.
I look at guys,
What?
I don't see someone named Seren like posting in there.
Like Seren.
Efficiency 101.
Guy. Why Seren isn't posting it, guys?
What?
Yeah,
Oh wait, Seren's not
No,
there.
I thought you guys know since F2 Popper knows it and Nia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't.
Mia
We
doesn't
don't.
care much.
can like overcap in mostly any aspect.
Yeah.
Good
Like
stuff.
Cover this in.
You get to 99% of your cap.
What? I'm
then
not
you just
spreading lies, Popper.
hit
You know
overtime.
it. You know it.
Also, like
Imagine
one thing
that.
about the gold,
You know
honestly,
it.
Cog, please remove the 800 and 400,000 costs from upgrading the tier of your like trial
Oh
equipment.
boy, it's not even
Oh,
there yet.
God, that, you know, like
I
there are
already
actually
have
some
the-
sets that are utterly useless. Like, why would you buy a green set on a tank? Like, come on.
Fucking hell, I already spent
Green
like
set on a tank.
a fortune buying the
Green
set.
set on a tank? What?
Then I have to
I
pay
mean, a
more
green
to
set on a
buy
tank
the
is also violent.
upgrade
Don't do
equipment.
that.
It's really
Who,
annoying.
who would do that?
So
I mean,
it's
really.
like just blue.
You haven't seen the end of it yet.
Yes.
There's something costs about 3M per piece.
Oh my
I mean,
Oh my
I think
God.
the only reason why we're gonna do that is to just get gems at this point.
Okay, Zach, continue.
Alright.
It hurts, man. It hurts.
So-
It hurts, man.
Tips and advice on how to maximize your SR units. So
Build
we're talking about
Shinies.
we're in this context we're
Shiny.
talking about prestigious,
Shiny
awakening, and anything of this.
transfusion.
Yeah, wait. Can I have a say in that?
Go
Sure.
for it.
Because I believe, just
I-
when like trying to awaken a unit, an SR unit, just don't like try and believe like you have the luck to pull it out from like the summoning, because that will never happen. That will never happen. You will always get a Ryan. or an army.
What are you implying here, huh?
Got a lot of
I don't like your
A's.
implications.
Don't be
No, but the only way to do it like consistently and stop like breaking your dreams or something is like doing shiny.
Could be worse. We're talking
Transfusion.
about Riot here, but you can get Army.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Use that.
You're always gonna get an army on Ryan. Like never something that you actually need.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
still use
The only,
Riot
thing,
dishes.
the only thing you can do is use your like S cards and like get the type of like an assault or something if you need like awaken last. And just
Yeah.
save up the S cards and the evil stones to awaken that, fully awaken that, and then just turn it into a shiny.
Shiny.
It's more consistent, and
Actually.
you won't have to like waste a lot of prana just hoping that you'll get that last from that pull, and that you'll never get.
As a free-to-play player, I think I've transfused
Fucking last stock, man. Let's not.
over 8 already.
Yeah, you can be that one person that cheated the game for using the select ticket to get last.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you, man. Use my 200 select for last. That did not regret it. Yes.
Yeah.
Regards to maximizing your S units, just wait for banners to come up, then use your pranas. That's the best way to utilize your summon tickets or your prana. But if you really want to upgrade slowly, you can use, or you can always upgrade an S unit and make it into shiny, just like what the other guy said earlier.
So basically, if you grind enough in a week, you should have by 2 weeks you should have 2 shinies.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I can do 2 shinies too.
Unless you're a whale.
What if
I mean,
Unless you're a whale.
regarding that.
and this is not very strategic.
For casual ones, I really do think you can reach one shiny per week. It's
Yeah,
that
It's very
Good
casual
question.
if you just
I mean,
do
it's-
all the
as long
dailies.
as you're doing dailies, it's a rather easy. You will get the access from your mission points.
I mean, if they don't stack up requests, but if they do, since casuals, they can't do anything, right?
Mhm.
They can't make since each S card costs about 2,200 request coins. So those coins,
No.
Yeah, just
No.
the wizard labyrinth and the weak.
You get most of your S units as a casual on Annihilation, and
Oh, yeah,
and most people
Yeah.
does use their free, what do you call this?
Actually, what I do is I get most of my
Their
from
lock-in
fusions.
clears to clear
And what?
Annihilation.
I get most of my assets from fusions. Like every
I mean,
time
if you're
I
lucky,
roll,
I mean that's
I roll-
RNG still.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's RNG. The sure way of getting S is basically to build Annihilation.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So the thing here is, if you're doing
thing-
for shinies, there's Guild Annihilation. There's a weekly mission that's already two
two.
Yeah.
a week, two S, two S,
2 to 3.
Then up-
2 to 3.
two to three. And each, if you get lucky on what do you call this
Wizards.
the requests,
Fusion requests.
you could get about 2 a week. So you have 4.
Yeah.
4 S selects.
I
So
mean,
4 S selects.
if you're going to fuse a lot, like say for example, if you rolled and you get like, I don't know, 10 A's, I mean, some of that is bound to be an S.
Some,
You-
but it isn't the thing you need.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, we're talking about
That
shinies.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if you're
fair enough,
building
fair enough.
a shiny, it's not always the thing that you need.
Yeah, true.
You can get you can get
Right.
S select from mission points as well.
Right
Yeah,
now I'm building.
So
I'm building
basically,
a
you can get
Sophie.
the last 2 of your S from your mission points.
Right now I'm
Even doing like or 5
That's
and
it.
6 to be able to get it. Not that.
Oh, that's a god of item.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that guy? Is that Monica again? I mean, Eron?
No, it isn't.
Oh, it isn't. Who's that guy?
All right, I had to mute you. Sorry. Let's move on. This we're
Okay.
running into like the last 15 minutes, so I want to do like quick questions, essentially to get general grasp of the game for the players here. So, daily defense. What should you be getting from there? If assuming that you're on a Tuesday or Friday, which I believe is not
Valor.
Tuesday or Friday. I think it's the weekends.
Monday,
Saturday.
Wednesday, Saturday.
Saturday and
You
Sunday.
can pick which ones should you prioritize.
Friday.
Depends on which evils that you need because it's going to be your main source of pranas, especially if you're casual.
Okay. So here's a tip again. How do I farm my valor? Since my valor or my hero training right now is like at max level, both
Yes,
assault, ranger, and mage. And my current tank and healer hero training is at level 100. So how did I come up with that? Here's a tip. I always reset at least once a day during Fridays and Saturdays to get at least 1,600 Blessing of Valors every week. And that's a total of 720 gems that I get from PvP weekly.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mostly use free gems to get more
yeah,
BP.
Yeah, basically that's free gems. But since you're currently in Challenger or flat tire, it doesn't really apply to
Hmm?
that newer chasers.
Actually, the newer people can actually get those easily. Since
No,
I
I think
No.
no. That's a bad investment for them.
actually when I started the game, I already did that thing.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I don't know.
but
What I do is I reserve my mission requests for
Oh
a
yeah.
certain.
Actually,
yeah, I
ranks.
do recommend doing that if there is a gem spending event. But outside of it, I don't think they should be spending their gems, every week for those kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
the
it's
only
not
thing I
actually
can spend on
just
is
for the
expedition.
Blessing of Valor, but just
Yeah,
like
I can get enough blessing father if I do
So-
mission. I'm currently maxed out.
Mhm.
Currently, I'm maxed out to
It's
72.
actually a win-win situation anyway, since you get more support stones for line
Yeah,
and range.
but this is not. I already have too much support stones
Oh yeah,
already,
then.
and I don't even reset it. I have like 100 plus here that I haven't even used yet, and I'm still racing. I'm still racing. There's there's here.
All right. So let's continue. So we talked about daily defense, Wizard's Labyrinth. What should be your main priority?
Hero.
Gold and monster cards.
Let me tell you something.
Depends on the level. I think.
Don't say prana. Don't say it.
Good.
Everything
No,
was
please.
You say prana, man.
No, please, no.
All right. So
I don't know.
Zach, I meant that Wiz Lab gives prana per run.
that's a good one. I'll give you that. Shit, that was good.
You make a prana emote. Oh my god.
But you guys were saying with the what people should be getting? Wizard's Labyrinth?
On the lower level.
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Am I lagging?
I'm not sure how the hero works, because if I
It's
remember
1D.
correctly, even if you get a 25 and a 20, you're still gonna get the same thing.
Yeah, it's
I
still
remember.
see.
Still
That's
one.
why
And
I
like,
said level. Depends on your level. If you're on like the lower levels, choose hero. If you're higher, then monster cards or gold, since monster cards and golds increase with the level
Yeah.
also.
I can't really
Well,
say that there should be something specific in what they need to get. It's more of what they need at
yeah,
their
it's more of what
current
they need.
state.
Yeah, because
Yeah. It's very flexible. Like at one point I ran out of gold, so I had to go snipe out a couple gold. The next point I ran out of monster card, and it really
you get
varies. But
monster
mostly
cards.
I
Yeah.
go for S rank at my current state right now.
to be honest, Wizards Lab, the only thing that you should get on it is hero.
Monster cards. Really? What I do is
Honestly,
monster
yeah.
Hero.
cards.
Monster cards, monster
Hero or
cards.
monster cards. Because
Hero one is better at earlier start
okay,
of the game.
gold.
One at a time, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never get monster cards since I can easily get that from Trial Tower and Exped. And not only Exped but also request missions. I can easily get like 100 pieces monster card from Trial Tower only.
Yeah, but they're low
And
level, which means like if you have
Chances are low.
the five
Basically,
star
well,
or 6 star, you can really use them.
well, using 5-star and 6-star is not really that efficient in my own case. Since if you really want to save up gold, you can always use 1-star, 2-star, 3-star to get
No, I mean
+9.
No, I mean for
higher 6-star
stars.
heroes.
Like say for example,
Yeah,
for a
Heroes.
plus 12,
you
So
can
you
I
can
always
really
use
use
15K
them
per
for the
star.
heroes. 5-star
Because
heroes,
I know
6-star heroes, you can
people who
really
have
use them.
spent more than
2-star,
100
3-star,
gold
because
just to
you can feel the
raise
golds.
their
Well,
or
I think
upgrade or
Alright, hold on.
their heroes.
We're
Organized.
basically going in a loop and everyone's talking over each other.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
clarify this.
okay.
The current
Okay.
stance is that for Wizard's Labyrinth, from what I have understood, is that players should be using them. If you're lower level, you should be getting heroes. If you're higher level, you should be getting monster
Yeah.
cards. The counter argument
No.
to this, hold on. The counter argument to this is that Trial Tower is sufficient enough to give you monster cards. So you shouldn't be using them on Wizard's Labyrinth. There are resources for them.
The problem with Trial Tower cards is that it's either 3 to 1.
3 to 1.
The cards in Wizard Lab is 6, 5, and 4. Unless on your case, Zach.
Ugh.
And a lot of 3.
You can save a lot of gold when you get 6-star port cards, since the upgrade on 6-star units, 6-star plus 12, is about 10k to 20k. If you fail, that is.
Ouch.
Alright. So, please 1%.
Yeah.
Actually,
1%.
can I chime in a bit?
Sure.
So I really think it depends on what you pulled for the week when you do your summons, because you're not really gonna use a lot of resources to fuse those A's when you can actually get hero cards from the Wizard Lab and then fuse them instead. So what are the point of the monster cards? However, if you did get really lucky in your pulls and then you end up with a lot of S's during that week, then those cards will do you a lot of good. So it really depends on at what point you are in the game, or rather in the week, whether you're lucky with the pulls or not. With the S cards, with the S hero cards, not scaling or not, we're always gonna need S hero cards anyways. So whether they scale or not, they're pretty important. With the monster cards though, I've never really had a shortage of them, because one thing I think we haven't touched today was the treasure chests. They drop a lot of high ranking cards, especially the gold chests. So you can always use them for any rush power leveling of any hero cards. Oh yeah, but we can never really have too much hero cards because we always want those shinies. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with Migav though. I mean, I don't even have a shortage of monster cards as well, since I can always get a treasure chest or gold chest from expeditions most of the time. So I can like farm all those 3-star and 4-star cards easily.
All right.
Um,
Let's go into dimensional chasm. I hope I said that right. So
Yeah.
this is kind of a new content, and it brought in with it, these level 11 weapons.
Mhm.
Is this something?
support for
Well, let's generally talk about the content in there. The content is not that
Sure.
easy. Let's be honest. You have to be pretty beefy.
Yeah.
For newer players, this is
Yep.
kind of hard to do. Uh,
Mhm. True, it
is
is
there
for
anything
new players.
specific about this, like for example, comps or anything that players should be taking advantage of?
They should
You
take
should
advantage of the order.
definitely take advantage of
Order.
panels. Easy clear, especially if you have a Sieg card.
Ano mo, ah?
You just have to pull the little Wendy into the other mobs, and then they will do the damage for you. So basically, what you just need there is not
Mag-heal ka muna.
What the hell?
and CC.
He's playing the game.
Who's that?
Go on.
Can he talk though?
Okay, go ahead.
Good.
Oh,
Okay.
by the way, it's a reset. It's a reset.
Let's
The
go.
Oh,
fuck?
it is. Okay, 12. It's already 12.
So the thing is with them Chasm, the very first thing you have to do is pick the right order.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Because
Pick
if you
your-
fuck up your order, like you, Zach, the way I see it, your rank 8 is fucking bore.
Oh my god.
Put the
That
door
would
last.
really
Nope.
shit you up. Okay, so the hardest part of this is Balzac, Boar, and Marjoram. Those three,
Marjoram isn't that much of a problem though.
I mean, if you don't have skill cancels,
Yeah, sure.
high up,
No.
they fucking hurt. But those three, you cannot pass them up during the earlier stages. You just
One way
can't.
to deal with Marjoram is Ronan Invul.
Yeah, if you have Ronan. If you don't, you're fucked
Yeah,
up.
if you don't.
Or
There's also an option that you can take the cleanse party skill.
No, you're still fucked up with cleanse.
Just use Sieg cards. Cancel.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing there. You need skill
You need-
cancels.
You need an LSS.
Yeah, basically
one of those two.
my Cal is MVP there.
PHR real something. At least one skill cancel. That's it.
Yeah, I do
It's pretty
suggest
easy have them.
using Siegheart instead of LSS. Sometimes LSS skill cancel is unreliable, especially
Yeah, I don't know how come sometimes it doesn't work else for else skill cancel.
The thing is
it
with
works
LSS
perfectly for
skill
me.
cancel.
you have to hit it. It has to. It only skill cancels after
After he jumps.
And then she drops.
What the hell?
After the Yep.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
it where she lands, where she cancels.
So the thing here with them Chasm, you really can't pass up with Boar or Balzac at the earlier stages. At the later stages, your units will melt. Saying rank 7 or rank
For the
8,
later stages.
Poseidon. Poseidon is the easiest one.
The
I
problem
don't
with
know.
Poseidon is that you can't really fully auto it unless you have good DPS.
Yeah, the thing is, but arguably it is the
But Poseidon is much more easy.
I think the one that you really can't pass up as well is Russell, because you're gonna die just by walking.
yeah, that thing too. So there's Russell, there's Racel or Russell if you want. It's Racel and Balzac. And that Racel is quite easy as long as you have her. Yeah,
Some
that
kind
one.
of healer.
As long as you have a tank.
Seren posted. This is from Ikeva, so you could check this, and it's also in guides. So if you head there, you can see this, and yeah, that this should be followed by the new players.
All right. So,
Okay.
Why?
huh, uh, essentially, with this entire argument that we've had, or discussion, I should say, the discussion that we've had, I think
Game.
most of us have an idea on how the game is. We kind
Yeah.
of discussed. We discussed the state of the game, different compositions. We gave some tips and tricks
Yeah.
on certain aspects, and I learned something new today.
Yeah.
We
What's
slightly
that?
talked about the community, although this is something we can talk about at some other point. There's a lot going on with the community. And I kind of want to close out the session just generally talking about how the game is going and where we see it in a few months and in a few years. So I want to start out just by asking, where do you guys see the game in, let's say, 2 months from now? Do you think that there's
World
going to be less players? That there's going to be a resurgence again, like how it was when the game released? Where do you see the state of the game in 2 months?
More hackers.
More hackers, yes.
The
More
LP has been
hackers.
immortalized.
Oh my god.
All
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Anything else?
So yeah,
Casual League.
No, most casuals will have like an SR Shasha or Cindy or Ka.
my god.
Do you guys see any new events coming out? This is something we really didn't talk about as well. There were
Yeah,
events are kind of lackluster, but that's another conversation.
Yeah,
see,
I do think they would add in the old GC mini games.
yeah, you can you definitely they'll add in more events, but in terms of content, what do you expect to see? Let's see, 2 months from now.
World
Assuming
3.
you kept up with Cacao, what do you expect?
Word or actually, I'm expecting Word or
No, 2 months?
One
That's
month.
too fast. For World 4. It's
Come
World
on, I can't
3.
even
Can we
Who
expect
cares?
3 in 2 months
Yeah,
No.
we can.
We can expect World 3 next month, though.
with
Oh,
the
really?
raid?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what I'm expecting Word in 2 months.
along with
Then, along
Along
with
with
Jin
the-
and Lime.
No, I mean Lime Engine is already on Monday. In 2 months we'll be expecting about World 3 and Dio.
Hmm.
Along those lines.
Might be Dio and Rin, though.
Oh my.
Ren.
Unless
Oh,
they
God,
sidetrack
really.
again like they did with Elysis.
No. Before Rin, we would have Seren.
Oh boy.
Oh, right. So it's Dio Surden then.
Yeah, Dio Seren. By the way, Seren should.
No, Certain is free, so it's basically
Yeah,
Dio
I-
Ren.
I
Plus
mean,
Certain.
yeah, Seren can be bought with honor points, which you could get in PvP.
But
So
here
she's-
it's just once.
Yeah, it's just once. It's 40k. It's 40k.
All right.
Oh shit, it's
Uh,
start saving now.
So that's 2 months. Where do you guys see the game in around 6 to 9 months? And this is going a bit further away from Cacao. But
Yeah,
specifically for Sia, I want to know 6 to 9 months.
It
6 to
really
9.
depends, though, on the community setup.
The game could die in 6
Based
months,
on what we
honestly.
talked about today, and based on what you see with the community, I think you can make a pretty educated guess based on what's gonna happen.
This could die.
It might
basically-
die.
No, basically
Pretty
9
sure.
months people will have 1 million.
Like,
It's a wild guess. That's a wild guess.
say that hey, the game is gonna close down in 6 months. Could happen.
Yeah, in 6 to 9 months, it can happen.
It can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah,
It can happen.
I agree.
They're not.
A lot of
That's
people
a
are
long
actually
time.
getting burnt
It
out.
really depends on their market.
Wait,
Yeah.
someone was saying people getting burnt out.
Yeah.
That is true. Do you
Yeah,
think it's the daily grind of the game? How much you have to keep up with all these daily changes and
Right.
content?
Yeah. Well, it's not only just the dailies, but seeing how the top players are getting stronger so much faster than
Yeah.
than the casuals. It'll just turn them off. And
Yeah,
yeah,
make
well,
them
actually,
seem
there
unreachable.
might be an influx of casual players coming in and out every so often. If COG does decide to release like a beginner only event wherein they get like a free SR like every. So
I think
often.
we still have the beginner event going on where
Yeah,
Oh,
With the
sorry, I
border.
didn't know. I didn't know. But yeah, so with that, we're definitely gonna see an influx of newbies and casual players. But then the veterans, the ones who supported the game since launch, will definitely get burnt out eventually. The stronger the top players get.